Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Friday, November 7th, 2025. Something I meant to put in this stream that I didn't even do is today Donald Trump pardoned Daryl Strawberry. Did you hear this one? And do you recall, I believe it was 2017, 8 years ago already. One of the headlines on this very same day, November 7th, was Roy Halladay, the two-time Cy Young winner, had crashed and died in a plane off the coast of Holiday, Florida, not that far from Halliday. Again, we talked about how appropriate it was, sadly, for a baseball star to die on this day and why this day is so fitting for baseball news. And, Puppet Trump, he pardons one of the most famous baseball players of all time, one of the most controversial players of all time, Daryl Strawberry, the man who could swing a bat and was addicted to crack. We'll get to why that is too, because it just popped into my head that I forgot to decode that. I read the story earlier. Anyway, baseball, that's America's pastime, and hardly anyone even pays attention to anymore. What everyone's into these days are video games. In the age of the Amber Alert, in the age of nonstop fear-mongering on TV, moms don't want their children outside. They want them safe and sound inside the house, playing video games where you pretend to be, I guess, a serial killer. Grand Theft Auto, it got super popular because it was the 3D version that came out around the time I was about to graduate from high school. I remember everybody and their mom was playing it when I was in college. Was it PlayStation 2 back then? I think it was PlayStation 2. But I thought, man, is this good for society to everybody just be running around on the streets that look like America, just killing people? I don't know about all this, but yeah, this is what America does now. They don't play outside. You drive down the streets of America, they're empty. The parks are empty. The kids are at home safe and sound playing Grand Theft Auto. And I think it explains really what you see in society, just how antisocial people have become, and the trolling behavior and being anonymous and these avatars online and doing weird things. And the 21st century, it's just been the downfall of society, and the signs have been everywhere. But anyway, Grand Theft Auto 6 delayed, and I'm going to remind you who's behind Grand Theft Auto 6, the Grand Theft Auto Rockstar brand series, because the delay just couldn't be any more perfect. Of course, they got to do it by the numbers. Grand Theft Auto 6 delayed on the 6th of November. It'll come out next November. Yeah, we'll talk about it. It's perfect. And Antonio Brown, that guy in the NBA, the NFL, I should say, former NFL star that they love to shame, apparently yesterday on a Thursday, arrested in Dubai. And you know what I teach you every week about 35 Thursday, right? Last week, the Thursday headline was hip-hop off the Billboard Top 40 for the first time in 35 years. Of course, rap equals 35. But again, you just learn this gematria thing. You'll see through all of it. So I know I didn't do a video yesterday on this. We covered it live on the Patreon. We were looking at how it factored in with the Raiders last night. The last team Antonio Brown was a part of was the Raiders. He didn't play any regular season games, but he was with them for their training camp. You guys see the score last night of Thursday Night Football, 10-7 after the death of Marshawn Kneeland, who scored a touchdown on Monday Night Football, making the score 10-7, 17 points, 17 date numerology. Number 10 for Bo Nix wins the first game of Week 10 with 10 points. Will 10 home teams win in Week 10? We'll see. But anyway, yeah, just so you know, Antonio Brown arrested in Dubai. I mean, come on. Come on, 35 Thursdays every week. They can't get enough of it. We'll talk about Nancy Pelosi's greatest hits in light of her announcing her retirement yesterday, that she's not going to run again. The Wicked Witch of the West isn't quite dead, but she is retiring. We'll go back through the greatest hits of Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the greatest hit of all time was when the Key Bridge came down on her birthday. She's a Baltimore native. Her father had the same birthday as Francis Scott Key. For everyone who doesn't know about that ritual, we'll be sure to cover it one more time. It was synced up with her and Slow Joe, the two Catholic fossils almost in the U.S. government. Did you see this one today? This one's today. Cornell University reaches $60 million deal with Trump. Isn't it annoying? It's like, how don't people catch on? Donald Trump's running for the 60th election, selling $60 Bibles. He's suing 60 Minutes. He's got this 60 deal, that 60 deal. It's like, where don't people catch on? You haven't seen the abuse of 60? If only people knew that he shoved his ex-wife down the stairs and killed her exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year on the same day he said he'd run in the 60th election, they might actually wake up. But yeah, here's the latest 60 for the chump. And of course, Donald Trump equals 60 in Gematria. Hardly anyone watched the video this morning on Elon Musk $1 trillion deal. And by the way, my headline pretty much communicated that it would happen before the vote happened because it was too obvious that it would. The ritual was too obvious 119 days after Nikola Tesla's birthday anniversary. But yeah, we'll recap that in the end. Let's start right here with the thing America actually cares about. Video games, the biggest industry in the nation. And again, it just makes sense. The kids are not outside. They're fatter than ever. And they're growing up in front of the TV. Mostly killing people, because isn't that what you do in almost all these video games? I'm sure it's great. So again, GTA 6 delayed until November 2026, and it's going to come out on November 19th. Now, notice that from the delay to the new release date is exactly 54 weeks. And we know whose number that is. The gang that runs it all, right? The Jesuit Order, who again have their headquarters at the Church of the Jesu, Building 54, who established their first Jesuit university in Washington, D.C., Georgetown, with a 54-year-old John Carroll at their peak. They had 54 universities in the U.S., et cetera, et cetera. And how you can tell that's not a fluke is the gematria behind Rockstar Games, which equal 201 and 84, just like the Jesuit Order. Throw a the on it, run it in reverse, you get these values. And remember where the 201 and the 54 come together, right? There's a magic to it. The Jesuit logo is the sun. Sun is 54. And in the 16th century, the century they were created, the heliocentric model was also recognized. And that all has to do with the Catholic Church, who the Jesuits serve. And heliocentrism is another big fat 201. And remember, where the Jesuit order is 201, Order of Illuminati is also 201, and that was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria, and Bavaria's got the double connection to 54, and if you're new here, this is the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. In English, there's 4 base ciphers: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. So yeah, the Jesuits, They might as well be the Illuminati. Again, the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt created the Illuminati in the time of the Jesuit suppression. And they're here to control humanity. And it seems obvious to me that they are geniuses, but their plan was to just get us all just hooked into technology and screens. Because you see how through the screens, they control people's minds and their behavior. And if they have everybody in front of screens, they can get out their messages, their programming, everything they want in a very easy fashion, as we now see living in the 21st century, where almost everybody's a program robot. Almost everyone's behaving the same way, speaking the same way. Listen, you guys are getting the same things in your YouTube feed that I'm getting. These man on the street interviewing people about the latest political topic of the day. How does the average American speak? They all speak the same way, don't they? They can't say a sentence without saying the word like. I think I like Donnie because I like the free buses. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think I like Mom Donnie. It's like, Jesus Christ. And then they go talk to the next person. Maybe the next person doesn't have a like, but he's got the other thing going. I'm voting Mom Donnie, bruh. Mom Donnie's the truth. How come? I don't know, bruh. I like his name, bruh. Next person. I don't even want to keep doing it, but it's literally, if you guys are watching YouTube and you're watching people on the street, it's literally like this. How did it get this way? How did everybody get so dumb? And notice, I mean, when they actually get past the likes and the bruhs, they all have the same 5 talking points. It's just, anyway, couldn't have done it without the technology, couldn't have done it without the screens, and everyone getting the same programming. And instead of going home and educating yourself and reading, you're spending your whole night playing Grand Theft Auto 6. You want to be ranked number 1 on the billboard for the most street kills or cars jacked or whatever it is. And that's the thing too. Didn't Grand Theft Auto introduce now I'm using sleeping with prostitutes? I mean, why do you need to do this in a video game? Okay. Anyway, let's come back. 54 weeks on the nose. So the game was supposed to come out May 26, 2026, right? Notice from May 26th to November 19th is 177 days. I mean, look how perfect it is, you guys. The Jesuit order. 177, 201, 84, 69. Now, you can probably do that in Grand Theft Auto 6. Probably more detailed, bruh. With the prostitutes, you can probably 69. Anyway. Yeah, there's even more to it, but is there any question here about who's behind Rockstar Games and this little delay by the numbers? They know they're torturing humanity, too. They're torturing humanity. I'm tired of watching the man on the street interviews. I need GTA 6. What am I supposed to do with my life? And once again, the delay on the 6th of November. So Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed again by Take-Two Interactive's Rockstar Games. This time pushed 6 months from his previously set May 2026 release date. Along with its July-September quarterly earnings results Thursday, Take-Two announced the much-anticipated action-adventure open-world title will now launch November 19, 2026. That is a date with a lesser date numerology of 56. Remember, the Jesuits, they really do love the 54 and the 56 in their rituals because their formal title, Society of Jesus, has the 56. But yeah, it's just very obvious Jesuit stamp in the ritual. And game will probably be done on time. They just want to torture America. They get off on the torture. That's why it's the constant negativity. It's why they love to punk home crowds at their rig sports games. Dodgers fans in disbelief that they only won 1 of the 3 home games. Toronto's filling another World Series. And then they lose games 6 and 7 at home, and the cabal just laughs all the way to the bank. Kills a few people along the way. Dave Roberts picks up his 69th win after starting the postseason with his 57th when the World Series starts on the 147th day of his age again. And meanwhile, the Chargers brothers murdered on 69th Street. Nice little news story given the day the World Series is decided. People that spent all the money on the food, the tickets, the parking, all of it, going home crying. Can't believe we were up the whole game until the number 9 hitter tied it up in the 9th on a solo shot en route to the Dodgers winning their 9th World Series in the big script. We had it, bruh. What happened, bruh? What? Yeah, I don't even have any more to say about the Antonio Brown thing. Case closed. 35 Thursday, Dubai. This is just bullshit. Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke. Now, Nancy Pelosi announced she's not going to run for office on the first of the last 56 days of the year. Let's go over the gematria of Nancy Pelosi, right? So she was like the 52nd Speaker of House, bruh. Maybe if I start talking like this, we'll get some views back. We just talk like the common folk. 10 likes per sentence, 1 bruh every here and there. Yes, sir. But yeah, she was the 52nd Speaker of House. You know, the 56 goes with her Catholic Jesuit education. Washington, D.C., 56 like Society of Jesus. And did you notice the 133 in her name? And just perfect for a pawn for the government. Government's 133. But when it comes to Nancy, let's never forget the bridge collapse at 1:28 a.m. Bridge collapse 1:28, Maryland 1:28, 128 days from Francis Scott Key's birthday. You know what? Let me just pull up this post real quick. How much time do I have? I want you to see how perfect it was. It was synced with her trip to Singapore, because remember the ship that took out the bridge was the Dali, and the news media literally compared the Salvador Dali painting, The Broken Bridge in the Dream, to the collapse. And by the way, the name of the painting that the media told you it reminded them of, The Broken Bridge and the Dream, 128. And again, it was 128 days from Francis Scott Key's birthday. I think this is the right post. But her father was the 41st mayor of Baltimore, and Baltimore equals 41 like Key, and his birthday is the same day as Francis Scott Key's. Baltimore 41, Key 41. His birthday is August 1st. Her father, just like Francis Scott Key. Hold up. Is this not the right post? Her trip. Let me see if this is the right post. Her trip to Singapore was perfectly synced with the Singaporean ship taking out the bridge. Okay. From her trip to Singapore to the that's right. Her trip to Singapore was also on her father's birthday anniversary. He's passed away, but it was her trip to Singapore was on Francis Scott Key's birthday, and then the bridge gets 86 weeks later, and Key Bridge is 86. I mean, and think about it. It created a big bill for the taxpayer and a big contract for the reconstruction. And this is the game that our government plays with us. Literally demolishing infrastructure. And there was so much more to it, too. I did a ton of work on that Key Bridge collapse. But yeah, it was on Pelosi's birthday, a Baltimore native, in tribute to her and her father. And don't forget, remember when Biden was in Pittsburgh to talk infrastructure, and the Fern Hollow Bridge collapsed that day? Fern Hollow 128, bridge collapse 128. It was a span of 128 days from Biden's birthday when the bridge collapsed in Baltimore, and also 128 days before Francis Scott Key's birthday. And the disappointing thing is you try to share this information with the people who can't put together a sentence without saying the word like or bruh, sadly, which is almost everybody at this point. You share this information with these types of people, and then they think there's something wrong with you. And again, what I'm trying to tell you guys is it's because they're dumb. They're really dumb people. And I want, if you ever get accused of being mentally ill for sharing this work, because it's sure to happen. I mean, I have people in my own family who say I'm mentally ill for thinking that this means anything. And it's just like, no, it's not me who's mentally ill. You got to be a moron to think this stuff's a coincidence day after day. Think about what the word ill means. It means not well, right? So the opposite of illness is health, being healthy. Do healthy-minded people watch the TV and believe what they see when it's very obvious that they're being lied to by paid-for propagandists literally every single day? No, that's not healthy. And it's not illness to have the intelligence to recognize the redundancy and the patterns that are used in these rituals and to catch on. Mike Johnson, Nancy Pelosi, 52. She was the 52nd Speaker of the House. Why don't you just go down the line with Speakers of the House? Because right now Mike Johnson is 56. And doesn't it seem strange that Mike Johnson's name's almost identical to Nancy Pelosi's in Gematria? 133 and 52 in the names, like government. 56 like Washington, D.C. Doesn't that seem strange to you? Anybody who'd say, oh, mental illness for pointing that, don't you know that's a coincidence, bruh? Like, that's a coincidence, bruh. No, It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern, and there's a reason for it. DC is known as the Masonic City. Masonry is based in Kabbalah. This practice of letters and numbers and words comes from Kabbalah. It's actually a straight line of making sense, connecting dots, going, oh, I see why they do this. The moron, the mentally ill person, the mentally not well person is the one who jumps to instant conclusions without doing any research. I'd say that's a sign of illness. That's not well. That is not well. That's programmed. That's a retard. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot more hits with Nancy Pelosi, but I can only stand to talk about her for so long. And yeah, seriously, how many Donald Trump 60 rituals have there been? Donald Trump 60. You know, we covered the biggest one of all the day it happened, and we said, oh, there's another sign they're going to install him for the 60th election. He literally killed his ex-wife exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. If anybody needs a reminder, this Ignatian year began May 20th, 2021, the 500th anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola being shot, and his wife died July 14th, 2022. 420 days later, if you can divide that by 7, it's 60. Exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year, the wife's dead. And remember, prior to her being announced dead from falling down the stairs, which sounds like a total load of shit, Trump had come out earlier that day and said, I'm going to run in the upcoming election, which was the 60th. And you also had the conservatives against Trump, who said he has too many outstanding legal cases against him. They said there were 60 outstanding legal cases against him at the time, another 60. We covered all those things that day. And don't forget what's important about July 14th. It can be written 14/7, like 147. U.S. President's 147. There's 147 windows on the White House. President of the United States also equals 147. So what a day for such a ritual. And then since then, we had Alvin Bragg, 60, indictment, 60, a million indictment, 60 rituals. Just, you guys, I could write a really long book on Donald Trump in 60 leading up to the election and in the days since. There's just been so many of these stories. And then it's just another one. Cornell University reaches $60 million deal with Trump. Imagine being the person who would have sat here for all the years we were covering this, not saying the election, again, just another dead-on call about another rigged selection. Pretty much the only one online who was saying why Biden was going to go in his number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when Catholic equals 46, and his son's death at 46 was perfectly synced with the Pope. Same Jesuit priest did the funeral for Beau Biden that did the inauguration for Joe Biden. But again, all these years showing this stuff. Imagine going through all of the 60s that we've talked about over recent years and then coming to the conclusion that, thinking this means anything is mental illness. Imagine that. No. There's something wrong with that person's brain. That person's either a moron or suffering from like some major cognitive dissonance. And by the way, another number with Trump all the time is 88. Like Charlie Kirk dead 88 days after his birthday. Here's Cornell University, 88, going with his 88-foot flagpoles, and Turning Point USA, 88, and Eric Kirk being born in 88, and the ritual they did with Evergreen, Colorado, right after the Charlie Kirk thing with the school shooting, where Trey Parker went and graduated in 88, who had just put out the cartoon about Charlie Kirk not long before, and everything else. And, Oprah asking Trump if he'd want to be president someday in 88. Remember, that was in Chicago, the 312 area code. And this time around, he gets 312 electoral college votes, while the Pope is 88, and the Pope dies at 88 on the 312th day of Trump's age. Now, all the Chicago stuff, from Charlie Kirk from Chicago to Nick Fuentes getting just like total insane amount of attention. Have you guys noticed that YouTube is now just full of, I don't know where all these channels came from, but they all do Nick Fuentes clips and they just show up in your feed and they have hundreds of thousands of views? It's just, Nick Fuentes is another character they've been pushing on the world stage for quite a while now. When did he come on the stage? Around 2018, 2019? But right now he's everywhere. He's everywhere. And he's another Chicago guy. And he's a Catholic, career virgin, still lives at his parents' house, pimply face, bad skin. And it's just annoying to listen to him. It's like, okay, Fuentes, so you're not even a white guy, but you only want white people to live in the country? I mean, he might be 90% white, but it's like, what is this? Is this another George Zimmerman? Like, what is this supposed to be with Nick Fuentes? What do you want? A country of ugly, pasty white people that look like you? Jesus, stop. He wants a theocracy. He says America first. You want a theocracy. That's not American, buddy. This country was founded trying to rebuke the Catholic Church. Yeah, there's some other interesting numbers in the Cornell thing, but the 60 million is just, is there even any more to explain? Another 60 ritual. And real quick, one more time, Elon Musk got the very 12 Tesla potential $1 trillion contract. He'll have 12% of the Tesla shares if he meets 12 milestones. And again, yesterday's vote by the supposed shareholders was 119 days after Nikola Tesla's birthday. As they say, it doesn't matter who votes, it only matters who counts the votes. And it goes with the history of Elon Musk becoming the world's richest man on the 78th death anniversary of Nikola Tesla, when Tesla equals 78 like Jesuit, and 78 is the 12th triangular number. But Nikola Tesla also equals trillionaire. Of course, Tesla was supposedly in it to free people from financial tyranny. He wanted to get the world free energy was the story. And now here's a guy that wants to control the world through wealth and politics using the Tesla brand. Some kind of sick Orwellian joke. But yeah, one more time, once upon a time, the first time he passed Jeff Bezos in net wealth to become the world's richest man, supposedly he had 191 billion and Bezos had 187 billion, like Society of Jesus, because these guys are all Jesuit puppets. Again, just think about it, you guys. The internet came from the military. The most superior military in the world is the Jesuits, because they control the militaries of the world. That's why their leader's called the Superior General. We picked Pete Hegseth, for example, little puppet. He was nominated by Jesuit-educated Donald Trump on the Superior General's birthday, November 12th. He was sworn in 38 days from the Pope's birthday, like Pentagon equals 38, like it's on the 38th parallel. Like death, murder, killing, and RIP equal 38, just like Pentagon, and it's the nation's killing department. But anyway, Bezos was 56 years old at the time. And again, when he became the world's richest man, it was 172 days from his birthday, and Merum Dei Gloriam 172, the Jesuit motto for the greater glory of God. But yeah, it was the 78th death anniversary of Nikola Tesla that supposedly the Tesla guy is now the world's richest man. And then some people would have you think that this is all just some kind of coincidence day after day. And again, when you talk about the program masses, they all have the same lines. Do you ever feel like you're just looking for these things? Like, how hard do you have to look? I mean, isn't it bad? It's just, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's got to be some kind of sorcery for everybody to just have the same lines inside their body. You feel like you're just looking for these things? No. I feel like the ritualism is quite obvious and we're being mocked. I mean, Elon Musk, when he's on the TV, sounds worse than these idiots on the street. He's like a stuttering retard. He doesn't have anything intelligent or interesting to say. Did you see him on the stage after the Trump shooting hoax? He's supposedly brilliant, but he thought that was real. Only retards thought the Trump hoax on July 13th was real, first of all. Second of all, did you see him on the stage that day? Jumping around. But could you even call it jumping? It's like, what is wrong with this guy? This guy would get last place at the Special Olympics. He could not hop more than a millimeter off the stage. Good God. I remember being in school and walking past the Special Olympics classroom and you say, you feel bad for him, right? It's just like, don't get it twisted, guys. I've never been mean to disabled people, but the average American I'm mean to, because I don't like their type of retardation. And no, but I mean, Elon Musk is a Special Olympian, and it was on full display in Butler, Pennsylvania, where, I don't know, it's just amazing that anybody fell for any of that crap. Remember how Trump returned to Butler 84 days later, and you see how Butler's 78, like how they reinstalled him at age 78, like there's 78 cards in the tarot deck, and the top cards with Trump cards. Remember, tarot cards equals 119, takes office with the 119th Congress. The first time around in 2016, He's president-elect on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which is 45, like he became the 45th president-elect, running on Reagan's mega. Reagan, who said tear down that wall in regards to the Berlin Wall. Trump's building walls. By the way, the border wall just fit in with the whole 47 theme too. 47 like Trump. And again, just right here too. Trump's election synced with the 88-year-old Pope, who then died synced with Trump. Again, on the 312th day of Trump's age, going with his 312 electoral college votes. Don't forget Kamala had her DNC in Chicago. She spoke on the 47th, or she spoke on the anniversary of Huey P. Newton dying at 47. Her father, Donald J. Harris, was an associate of Huey P. Newton. But yeah, Trump takes office in 25. He'll leave office in 29 unless it's cut short for one reason or another. And of course, this time around, he's number 47. Imagine thinking that's all a coincidence. Special Olympian status. So, all right. I do got to go get my daughter. It is that time. Real quick, let me see what else is buzzing. The flight cancellations to you guys, just for the record, it's the 38th day of the shutdown. Started on the 1st of October, so it's 38 days after it began. Getting a little more severe here with the flight aviation workers being put on hold, so they have to do less flights. Chuck the Schmucks making an offer today. I'll be surprised if it goes past 47 days. That'd be 9 days from now. I'd be surprised if it went past 47 days. That'd be some mockery if they had to shut down for 47 days, but it would also be business as usual, wouldn't it? Trump administration starts funding full SNAP benefits for November. Hold up. We know that program was created August 31st, 1964. So today is 68 days later. Interesting. Donald John Trump, 68. Fox News always on the same kind of just like partisan BS. Federal Russiagate probe widens to include Brennan, whoever that guy is, and Page. Okay. I'm curious. James Carville, the Raging Cajun, who did he say is going to win in 2028? James Carville says he convicted people against Republicans after election win. Yeah, because he's making the point that that's what Trump is, which is a fair point. It's a fair point. He says that must be what the country wants. Got all these people out there that like to play it down, and you're a gross human being if you play down the fact that Trump is a disgusting person. I mean, the video's been out for years. Him telling a 10-year-old girl he's going to be dating her in 10 years. If you saw any grown man do that to a girl in your neighborhood, go up to a 10-year-old girl as a 50-year-old man, 'cause that's about how old Trump was when that was recorded in his 50s. Go up to a 10-year-old and say, "I'm gonna be dating you in 10 years." That's a creeper, because we all know why we wanna date the ladies, not just so we can hold their hands and give them a little kiss. Trump has sexual thoughts about 10-year-old girls. That's who he is. And how disgusting that he is supposedly the leader of the land. Puppet Trump running on mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And no, it's not a coincidence. Proven that a million times. That's why Obama, Barack, which means lightning, like Satan comes to earth in a bolt of lightning in the Bible. That's why Barack told the joke on the Church of Satan's 45th birthday, 45 days before Trump's birthday, April 30th, 2011. Told the joke to the whole nation at the White House Correspondents' Dinner with Trump in attendance that Trump will be the next president. And sure enough, he was. Running on mega. Okay. It looks like he didn't name an actual person. He just said they're going to get another creeper to compete because that's where America is now. Yeah, it's kind of gross too, but That is where we are in 2025. MSNBC's Democrats finally propose a shutdown deal and Republicans torch it in seconds. Okay, that's how MSNBC covers it. Of course, MSNBC has become the most democratic of the networks. What's the BBC got today? Focusing on the flights being canceled. DNA pioneer James Watson dies at 97. We've seen a lot of 97 this year, haven't we? 97, the 25th prime. That's been a major pattern this year. And I said to look for that one. Death 97. At the beginning of the year, I said there might be a lot of plane crashes because of the thing. And there's been way more than I ever thought there would be. 97, the 25th prime. Real quick, I got to check this out. James Watson, DNA pioneer. Huh. Also born in Chicago. Wild. Huh. Born on 4-6 in Chicago. I'm surprised they didn't have him on the revolutionary 4-6 defense to win that Super Bowl 46-10 over the Patriots. Perfect. 46 too. You get 23 chromosomes from each parent. That's to do with the DNA. That's interesting. James Dewey Watson. Huh. Hold up real quick. He died 214 days after his birthday on the day, leaving 55 days left in the year. Well, I don't know why that would be the case. I'd have to think more about that one. Just these two numbers. Church of Satan 214, Satan 55. Why would that be in DNA though? Why would that be in a DNA ritual? I got to wrap this up. I'm going to have to look more into this one and think about it. I never realized that DNA had the 201 encoding. That is interesting too. That is interesting. By the way, about the football player who died yesterday, they said it was a police chase. He is who replaced Micah Parsons, and he died 201 days from Micah Parsons' birthday. So there's a 201 ritual with the Cowboys player who died yesterday. His research on DNA is 72 years old. That's interesting too. Got his degree in Chicago in 47. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think more about this one. This is a deeper thinking one here, science and all. The Satan thing and Trump and Mega, but why? But why? Yeah, that one's going to require a little bit more thought. All right, Truth Seeker. We'll keep it short and sweet. I do got to go get my daughter. Thank you, Leopard Messiah. He said, let's get it, people. This knowledge is worth a buck or two. Hey, Leopard Messiah, I'm glad that you always feel that way. I appreciate all your generosity, friend. Make sure you're saving up that rainy day fund, though. You are very consistent with the donations. JS says 1953, 60-second triangular number, and he won the Nobel in 62. Interesting as well. All right, yeah, I'll think more about that one later. That's an interesting headline. I just caught wind of it. All right, we'll leave it there for now. You guys have a good rest of your day, and until next time.